Greetings, fellow Armchair Imagineers! Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Welcome to the show that comes with guaranteed creativity and a forecast of inspiration. It's time to grab our umbrellas and head to the dry erase board for some Ridestormin! And Dragon, are you in the mood for some Flintstones brainstorming?
Always.
That was not the best way to phrase that question. Dragon, do you want to do some Flintstones brainstorming?
I am a dabba-doo!
There we go. All right.
There you go. We gotta
That's
get the
the
doos.
response I was looking for.
You gotta get the doos in there.
Right. Okay. So, Dragon, it is episode 2 of Ridestormin, an Imagineering podcast. Don't know how much traction this is actually going to get. I'm kind of worried about that. I've tried to advertise in a couple spaces, but I digress. We'll go along with it. Folks, this is your show as much as it is our show, because basically the key gimmick here, what I want this podcast to turn into is basically like all guest-generated prompts. So I want people to, in the comments, be suggesting prompts for us to take on. I want us to have a system where the most popular prompts are the ones that get put on the polls. And then, of course, the ones that win the polls are the ones that we actually end up doing. For now, we're just kind of basing the polls off cool stuff that we've kind of been talking about and would like to see. But, in the future, guys, I really would like to see this kind of become a more communal thing where, people are kind of like actively suggesting stuff for us to do. So I just want to throw that out there. Now, Dragon, episode 1 had us kind of have an interesting task where we took the Mexico pavilion of the World Showcase, and you kept the Mexico theme but changed everything around to Coco, whereas I went an even bolder direction, and I took everything and gave it a Colombian makeover in homage of Encanto. So, Dragon, tonight we're working on one land, but you and I basically cover different parts of it. So you did a lot of the layout of the land, a lot of the interactive elements. I mostly did the big e-ticket. So it's the Flintstones, aka Bedrock City, and this episode is called Building a Better Bedrock City. Dragon, do you know why we need to build a better Bedrock City?
Well, that's the thing, folks. Bedrock City is a real thing. It does exist. And
Yes, it really does.
And well,
I didn't believe my parents when they told me back in the day, Dragon. I swear to God.
From what I understand, it's no longer around. I think it got closed at some point.
I'm pretty sure the pandemic officially killed it.
So here's the thing. Bedrock City was always, in concept, sounds like an amazing, awesome idea. I mean, we saw like a glimpse of this sort of thing in Inside Out. We saw like the car wrecking into the dinosaur tail. It's kind of a... It's got like an idea of like a land themed dinosaurs. Of course, not just dinosaurs, but the kind of the best way you could do that, the Flintstones.
Uh-huh.
So Bedrock City, in my opinion, I double checked this before in the planning stages to see how much, because I wanted to try and avoid the Coco thing that happened. We're like, wait a minute, everything I just came up with has already kind of been plotted out by other people. But Bedrock City, in my opinion, has never lived up to its full potential. I confirmed that in doing the research, where it's kind of like
there is
shells.
A dark ride. There is a Flintstones dark ride that I know of.
Really?
I think it's called the Flintstones River Run or something like that.
Okay.
I know it's a pretty generic title, but it looked okay. And the funny thing about that is, Dragon, is that it pretty much took the inspiration from my original approach to the dark ride, which was going to be the Flintstones on a road trip. And that's basically what that ride was. So I kind of ran into the same thing you did, where it's like, well, crap, I have to start over with my whole concept. I can't just do the same concept as the one, like, actually good-looking Flintstones ride that's actually out there.
And apparently, over time, Universal they had done. I don't know how official this was. I imagine this is when the movie was like in full swing. One of the two movies, probably the first one. Universal had made some attempts. I doubt like at a full land, but I know they had like kind of like an eatery sort of thing, like once or twice. They kind of had, like,
Probably, yeah, that would surprise me.
which I assume is no longer around. So yeah. So basically, we figured this. It's time that we do things up right. We do right by this insanely good concept, and actually see what would it look like if it were thought out. So instead of like Flintstones here, Flintstones there, maybe a ride. It's Bedrock. You get the idea. Like, no, let's give people an experience. So that's what we did.
Yeah, so this is essentially Dragon. We're kind of taking the cues from, the style of lands that you see all over the place nowadays, where you take one intellectual property and just crank up the detail, crank up the immersion, essentially make it like you're stepping into the IP. Dragon, I think for our purposes, the land that I would describe as the biggest blueprint, we've definitely got some Mickey's Toontown in there for sure, as far as like the interactive elements go. But I would also say that just as far as like the layout and how everything fits together, I think this is very much kind of like in the same vein as a Cars land.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit of Radiator Springs, I suppose, but I actually had a point of inspiration for this one.
Okay.
So the way we're gonna go through the land here, at least because basically the way it broke down, he did all the main attraction stuff, which basically is the e-ticket and like what would you call the smaller one that we have? Like what's the letter on that? Like not the e-ticket, but the
I'd say it goes down like D-ticket is still a big draw. I would say what we would have with the other attraction would be probably a C-ticket.
Oh, there you go. Let's say the E and the C ticket. Point being, you pretty much did all the legwork on those. I just titled the C ticket pretty much.
Uh-huh.
So regardless, the land. So I watched, there was this Back to the Future documentary, Back in Time from 2015, which was in celebration of, the whole, the Back to the Future 2 2015 thing. You get it. So, kind of went over like the fandom and everything and some of the cool stuff Back to the Future fans do. I'm going somewhere with this. Is that, is basically someone did like a tribute to Hill Valley. And what they did is you enter basically like Marty McFly did, and you start at the barn and you work your way through probably to the enchantment under the sea dance or basically just kind of the main clock tower set. So it was a really cool idea to me. So I figured, let's just do that with the Flintstones opening.
Yeah, so essentially this whole land, the way you designed it was kind of as if you're walking through the iconic opening theme song of the Flintstones.
I mean, pretty much. It's basically taking the most iconic landmarks that anyone and their mother, could probably name off the top of their head. Like, okay, well, when you think Flintstones, you think of these locations and these hallmarks, and of course, the opening. So the opening has to be the DNA of the thing, and also the attractions are kind of either tied into that or tied into one of the most iconic things the Flintstones did.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I guess should I just start laying it out, or?
Yeah, I think what we should do, Dragon, we should kind of like double team this where you kind of build me up to the attractions. And then once we go to the attractions, like, don't get me wrong, I'll definitely like be there with you talking through stuff. But once we get to the attractions, I'll kind of take the reins.
Sure. All right, so again, just the idea, kind of like the Back to the Future thing. You're kind of going through it linearly here. So you enter the land, you enter Bedrock City, or I kind of called it Bedrock 2.0 because I didn't know I knew you had the insanely good title of building a better Bedrock City. Well, honestly, I think we left off City be a little jazzier, but still Bedrock City because it is Bedrock. That's what the original was called, right?
That's what the original literally was called.
So by that,
the city part, yeah. And I am rather proud of the title. Thank you.
No, it is a good title. I feel like why not just call it that? Anyway, so
yeah,
Bedrock,
sometimes words just click together,
Okay, so anyway, so we start off like Fred Flintstone starts off, and I'll remind you folks, because everyone kind of forgets about this. There were 2 Flintstone openings. Okay, there were 2.
Oh yeah, there was the da 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 da. Yep.
Anyway, so the point being, the other one will get homage later, but the one everyone knows, Fred's working at the quarry, and of course he slides down the downstairs. So we're at Slate Rock and Gravel.
Uh-huh.
You enter the land. They play.
I assume there's going to be some sort of like it being a quarry, there's probably going to be some rock work, right?
That's what I'm saying. You pretty much walk in kind of at the ground level of the quarry. I don't know if maybe there'd be like a stairway getting you there. And I imagine you're walking in kind of at ground level.
I imagine it's kind of like, sort of like Cars Land, where it's like you're kind of like in the middle of a canyon or something.
Exactly. So you kind of walk through there, and you have like the first thing. This is actually at the Bedrock Sea, but nowhere near as cool as I've just kind of like thought of it in my mind. Where you have this one was a serendipity thing of like, well, I guess this is a very obvious idea.
No, it's funny because you're absolutely right. I'd say out of all the stuff that we pitch in this whole thing, like maybe besides the house tours, this is like definitely was at Bedrock City.
Yeah. I see. I did not know that until I did my.
But it was a literal children's slide, Dragon. I mean, beyond just literally like a cardboard cutout painting, it was pretty much just a playground slide.
So basically, what you have here is the main kind of draw upon the thing is it's playing the Flintstones theme when you walk in on the speakers, and you go in there and you have like the.
Can I make a suggestion on that?
I was going to lay it out first, but sure. What do you got?
Okay, just really quick on the theme. I think it should be like an epic, like John Williams orchestral version of the theme.
I mean, sure. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean,
I'm just saying, it's like you can hum the song in your head, but like hearing the orchestrated version will get you like, it's kind of like a big like, oh man, we're here. This isn't just the TV show, man. This is real life. I don't know.
Okay. So you walk in, you have that playing on the speakers, and like kind of your first attraction, is hey, there's a slide, but accurately painted and colored to the dinosaur from the I believe it was blue, I think, instead of like it's green. I'm not sure. The point being, you have like the Brontosaurus crane that Fred usually uses, and that is a slide. You can go down. It's like it's a big slide. It's it's the scale. It's this you slide there. In the background, you might have like another kind of a Brontosaurus crane that kind of goes up and down. Like it's playing in the distance, just kind of jazz things up. But the big draw too is that you have like you can pull the whistle that's like the quitting time whistle if you want.
Nice.
And also, my favorite little detail: there are vending machines. So
that's one of the fun things about this land that you came up with is all the little details.
Yeah, because there were vending machines in many of the specials that we did cover. With the Flintstone, the Flintstone events, movies, and such. Where like they're probably like coconut milk and stuff if you wanted from the vending machine. There's other beverages, but again, it's a very prehistoric looking vending machine, and probably has like a little. It doesn't function at all, but has like a little. Mini pterodactyl sort of thing that just probably makes a joke when you push a button, I'd imagine. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so you have a working crane in the background, as I mentioned. Anyways, the point being that's kind of your first stop. And you're making your way through. Okay, you start there, and you walk down the prehistoric street, which is mostly dirt, but still.
And this is pretty much the equivalent to like what the Radiator Springs downtown is for Cars Land, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. It sounds, yeah. Basically, you walk to Toontown. The Toontown, in this case, being Fred and Barney's houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you walk in. The characters are gone because they're presumably at the e-ticket, doing their thing. You got basically it's kind of a lot of photo ops. So you go in the place like, look, take a picture. Hey, family, take a picture of me next to Fred's TV, pushing the remote. When I push the remote, little animatronic rig kind of goes like the little pterodactyl flying to push a button on activate the TV, that sort of thing. So you have some of that. You have like some fun like little catches like, oh look, there's Pebbles. There's Pebbles, a roller skate that Fred Flintstone had his big emotional epiphany at in I Yabba Dabba Doo.
Oh my god.
That one's mainly for me, but it's there. You have Wilma's cookbook. You got again Fred's chair. He's kind of his Archie Bunker setup. You got you have like some of the you probably have like the shower and the dishwasher with the.
Well, yeah, an important thing is all the interactive stuff with the appliances for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. One. That's the thing. Basically, they're like animatronics built into the place and probably activated by sensors or what have you. Just kind of like they're going around there. It's basically have a bunch of the classic gags like this it's a living, that sort of thing. Like one of them's got to say it's a living.
Oh yeah, of course.
And also on the flip side, you have the Rubble's house, and there's only so much I can do to kind of zhuzh this up. So we have like Dino.
Well, I really like what you did with the Rubbles though. So I like like Bam Bam has broken a lot of stuff and. Dragon, I really like that the Rubbles have a supply of fruity pebbles.
Maybe some cocoa pebbles as well, but mainly fruity.
Mainly Fruity Pebbles, Dragon.
Of
Mainly
course.
Fruity
That's what I'm
Pebbles.
saying. Of course, it's mainly Fruity Pebbles. So yeah, there was a bunch of that, and also again, you have Hoppy, you have like the Dino equivalent there, and they're probably animatronics. That's probably the big, impressive like photo op you draw too. That's kind of like your like less jokey, but kind of your donkey equivalent if you want to use like a Shrek 40.
Right, yeah.
Just like it's about. Okay, so you have that. All right, so again, so that's there's that attraction. Anyways, then you go around the corner from Fred and Barney's house. Around the corner, what's around the corner, Tiki?
We have the Bedrock Bowl.
Yeah, what do you like, Barry? You like the bowl or the Bolorama?
I like the Bedrock Bowl.
I think they've had a number of names through the thing across the years and across the shows and such. Where I think anyways, the Bedrock Bowl. And it looks pretty much like the show. There's kind of an indoor thing. There's like a vertical sound. Looks like a bowling pin, kind of. You go in there. Yeah, it's a bowling alley. So
this is pretty much, to me, I picture it being modeled after the chain of bowling alleys called Splitsville.
Pretty much.
Which is very modernized bowling alleys where you kind of have like, you kind of have like your own personal lanes in your dining area. That's kind of the idea. So it's like you can eat, you can play some games of bowling, and you're in your own little area. You don't have to worry about the noise and the commotion of the whole alley. And that's kind of the gimmick of Splitsville. And then obviously with this, you'd basically have that same sort of intimacy, that same sort of gimmick. But you would, of course, have the rock bowling balls and the pins and everything, like all the aesthetic gimmicks of the Flintstones.
Exactly. So that's kind of the main thing too. You have that, but also you'd have some of the other kind of classic bowling alley trimmings, like you'd have the bowling alley food, like what was it? I imagine they have pretzels. You got
just classic bar food, basically. Yeah,
exactly. You have that going on. You got they have the claw. One of my favorites. You have the claw machine, which has Flintstones plush in it. I saw some legitimately cool Flintstones plush. I was looking around. They have like this thing, Tiki. It's awesome. There's like a whole set. You could get a plush version of the Flintstones card, and you get all the characters that jam into the Flintstones card. It's awesome. So maybe like I don't know if they could possibly track down and make new ones of those, but maybe throw a few of that in there. The point being, just plush Flintstone stuff you can get in the claw machine, and also you have some merchandise you can buy while you're there, like some Buffalo Lodge hats. With the little horns coming out.
I really like that idea. It'd be one of those theme park things where it's like you buy it and you could never wear it outside of the actual theme park, but god damn it, you'd wear it in the theme park.
Yes, you'd be a Lodge brother.
Right.
Of course, the big thing I want desperately, I'd kill for a really good button-up Flintstone shirt of some.
Oh yeah, totally. I can see that.
So they would have bowling shirts, Flintstones bowling shirts. They would be sold there because I want them. And also, here's a sell.
Should we have customizable balls and stuff like that?
I mean, why not? I mean, you can offer. I mean, the thing is, though, I was imagining these balls are kind of gag balls. Like they're probably not like standard issue, like actual. Like, I don't know. Because they have to be made rocky. I don't know how much of that's going to interfere. I'm thinking like, tell me if you remember this. Do you remember back in school when you were a youngin', way back in the day, where you had like the kind of the rubber
back in 1902, Dragon.
Yes, back in 1902. Yes. So, do you remember? Do you remember the old days when you had like a big rubber? They had like in the gym. They had like
the kid balls.
Setup. Yeah, they had like the giant rubber kid balls.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I imagine they would have to do something like that to make them more rocky. I mean,
right. Probably make the bowling pins a foam of some kind.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they used legit pins, and I don't know how. I don't know. They kind of felt. I don't know how hollow. I'm thinking back to it. I don't know how hollow those bowling pins were.
No, you're right. But
regardless,
I can see it working.
So yeah. Anyway, so the point being, I'm imagining it'd be that kind of ball. But I mean, I don't know if they use real balls, then sure, customizable balls and stuff. Perhaps maybe like a choice in ball design. Perhaps I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely buy. Here's something you could buy.
Flintstones themed cocktails.
Well, here's something you could actually do. You could do. You buy a standard issue, Flintstones bowling bag for the real bowlers when they get home. They could have like
there you go. There you go. Yeah,
there you go. That's how you take it out of the park. There you go.
Yeah,
a little bowling duffel bag. Anyway, so if you bowl a Turkeysaurus, you win a prize. Yeah, basically you bowl a perfect game. You get
Uh-huh.
the I imagine either like a kind of a cool trophy, or maybe the bowling bag that we just came up with on the fly, or
Right,
just
right.
some Flintstones merchandise, maybe a set of merchandise, whether it be like the full set of the plushie guys I was mentioning, or perhaps like just like something like maybe some glasses or something. Like, oh, you know what? Actually, I came across this after we did our Flintstones month. A little Flintstones, the McDonald's glasses that the Flintstones came out with. Maybe a glass set of something like that. I don't know. Some rock
Sure.
crystal. Who knows? Okay. So with that little game of bowling there, a little nice experience. That in itself is kind of a fun, like, price of admission right there. Let's go bowling in
I
the
mean, that's
Flintstones
something I could
land.
totally see being at downtown Disney or something.
Exactly. All right, so down the way, basically, the idea is it's a straight line, folks. Is like you go down there, you take a turn, you're kind of basically walking down to the big attraction. On your way to big attraction, you have these fun things that kind of give you stuff to do on the way. So you're making your way down, and you know what? I didn't want the bowling alley food. I wanted some nostalgic food. So we're going to the drive-in now. Before we chow down, you have like a little something for everyone, especially the kiddies. You got the drive-in theater, which of course is a big
Yes.
landmark from the classic.
So I imagine the way this complex would work is that it's essentially one big restaurant, but like the theater would essentially act as like a big seating area. But then also, if you want the classic kind of like drive-in experience, with the waitresses and bringing the food to the car and all that, then you could also go for the drive-in. And I feel like it'd be kind of like the same sort of complex, although thematically they'd be two different businesses. Is that how you're picturing it?
Well, I mean, honestly, how I pictured it was, and I know this one thing is not fully practical, but I imagine the theater setting would literally be like an outdoor drive-in sort of thing, which obviously I know would present problems. So unless they can put like a roof,
No, I mean, honestly, that's the way I'm picturing it too.
So basically, I mean, the way I just kind of imagine it was you have that, and literally just right next door you'd have basically the outdoor, basically the drive up part of the basically kind of what we have in the image here. Which again, this is essentially what they have in one of the Bedrock cities. I think the main one.
Uh-huh.
And you have like an outdoor kind of setup like that next to it, kind of an indoor area if you wanted to basically do these. So you have an indoor dining option to be practical, because I'd imagine if something I don't want anything to get rained out. That's the big fear I have. You don't want it to get rained out.
Yeah, right. So the idea of having the indoor complex would be if it is raining and you can't use the movie theater, then at least people can still get the big burger, the big rib burgers and whatever.
Exactly. So you have the theater, which basically plays, Flintstone episodes, cartoons, or movies, either they be animated or most likely the live action films. So you have that set up, which again, the idea is all the seats there are the Flintstone cars, so it's like a drive-in, but all the seats are just kind of like styled.
Well, Drag, it's essentially the sci-fi drive-in from Hollywood Studios. We're basically ripping that concept off, quite frankly.
Tiki, I'm gonna be fully transparent. I didn't think about that, but yes.
Yeah, it. The only difference is that we're actually making it outdoors, but
yeah, that's the thing. I'm literally just trying to match it up to the opening.
Right.
But you're right though. I mean, yeah. Now you bring it up.
Like functionally, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I just no, you're right. It is pretty much. Yeah. But again, we're still.
I mean, hey, it's one of the most popular restaurants in Hollywood Studios for a reason. It's a good concept that works well.
Yeah, worked for Tarantino. Why not? Anyway, so yeah, you have so the point being you have that, it's playing stuff there, and next door, if like you want to grab a bite to eat, it's literally like, hey, we saw the movie and we're gonna grab a bite to eat, like the opening. So you have the outdoor part of the restaurant, which ideally is you have like again all the tables are also the cars, again very Tarantino-esque. The tables are the cars you sit in. You can have the food brought to you. By the way, waitresses on skates are a must, whether it be inside or outside. Course,
yes,
waitresses on the skates.
And you know what? We better pay those waitresses more than minimum wage. I'm just gonna throw that out there as because those skates would not be easy to walk around in all day. You know what I mean? Those waitresses better be getting paid well. I'm just throwing it out there. It's like a management thing, Dragon.
Let me ask you this: do you allow tipping?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying it's not.
I mean, I think that Disney parks, I think the no tipping rule is kind of ridiculous in Disney parks, especially because they're trained to go above and beyond in customer service. So
I think
I'm all for tipping.
Here's the thing. I say if our prices to get into the place are fair, then yes, we allow tipping. But if we skyrocket them, no tipping.
That's fair, I guess. But I mean, we need to make if there is no tipping, then they need to be making a more than decent wage.
Well, no, I'm saying we still give money to. I'm just saying in
Yeah.
terms of like tipping. Yeah, for sure. These waitresses are going to be going through a lot here, but it'll be worth it.
Also, you mentioned park. Like this is like are we not doing a land?
No, we're doing a land. I meant just
to get into the park that this.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Hypothetically, Dragon, I'm just going to throw a random ass location out there for you.
Okay.
Kidsville at Universal Studios, Florida.
Huh.
Obviously keep ET, but I'm saying like I think that general footprint, probably including the Animal Actors Theater, probably enough space for what we're doing here.
I mean, sure, T. But my thinking was purely in like, okay, we're literally replacing Bedrock City, so let's just take kind of like that land and just kind of like make it better.
Oh, that was your thinking on this?
I mean, honestly, yes. I mean, if I knew, like, yeah, let's just put it in a park, then I probably would have reconfigured things. I was just thinking, like, literally wide open space. I mean, that place is decaying anyway. I'm just saying a place like that.
I mean, it's like I can configure, like, we can do that, but I mean, Bedrock City, man, it's basically a campground.
I mean, sure, but I thought it was like kind of like humble and figured. I'm putting the production value. Like, basically, we're putting like the unit. Here's the thing. What I'd like to think design-wise, especially also with the house too, I kind of forgot to mention this earlier, but stuff like it's like we want to find a kind of a slightly scaled down version of the live action 1994 film's production values. So from a distance, again, it looks, oh my god.
So basically, I think I can get on the same page with you here. So basically, what you're trying to pitch is that this should be the Bedrock City that you and I, when our parents told us about Bedrock City, kind of pictured in our own heads.
Exactly.
Okay, I can go with that.
We're literally going to Bedrock, as in a perfect world, you could actually go to Bedrock City and actually, oh my god, I've stepped into bed. Basically, a Galaxy's Edge on its own, but with the Flintstones.
Okay, I can roll with that.
Yeah, it's like, what if we
I don't know how this would be funded if it weren't like a standalone thing done by Universal or something weird like that. But it's a hypothetical. It's a Ridestorm. It's blue skies.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Anyways.
So, anyway, let's see where was. Anyways, so the rest. So the point being, so we already talked the theater up. So again, this next door is like literally like pretty much next door. It's like almost fused to the place, but it's like just literally. Actually take a left and it's right there. Mm-hmm. You have the diner, which basically have like kind of a old school like 50s diner food. Now let me ask you this: there'd be a possible marketing tie. I don't know how full tilt we want to go with this, but I was thinking perhaps you could do the Rock Donald's or the Bronto King.
Bronto King if we're doing any sort of Universal tie-in because they're affiliated with Burger King.
Sure. Obviously, my preference would be Rock Donald's, but no, you're right, though, and Burger King would probably be the go-to, yeah.
I know. I also think that Bronto King is just a better name, though, honestly.
No, it is with the Bronto burgers and the Brontosaurus.
Yeah.
So by that logic, you're not, I don't think you're wrong, so sure. Anyway, so the point being, it probably is that whatever it is, you'd have a specialty menu item, even if it were Burger King. The specialty menu item they would have in addition they have to have oversized ribs. They have to have
the oversized ribs has to be like, it has to be like one of those like maybe like $40, $50 like exclusive items. Like one of those big Instagram-worthy items.
Sure. I mean, for me, I was thinking like I thought Rock Donald's would probably work with like some sort of like McRib of sorts, but sure.
Fuck the McRib.
Well, it's a little aggressive, Tiki, but okay.
Okay, I mean it when it comes to the McRib, seriously.
I'm just thinking of like something rib-related. I don't think Burger King does ribs.
No, I'm saying if we're doing this, Drag, we're doing it full tilt. It's going to be the full ribs, giant oversized ribs, so big that you have to have like an additional like pull-out table on your car to eat the damn things.
Well, I didn't mean it was going to be the actual McRib. I'd said it'd be like a takeoff on the McRib, as in it would be an oversized rib thing, but that would be the gag. Hey, we've had the McRib. Look what we have.
Got it. Yeah.
So no, you're serious. We're serving basically as big as they will legally allow ribs to be.
Right. Exactly. Like we're going full Pim Kitchen with this thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the model. Exactly. We're going full Pim Kitchen. That's the size thing is absolutely there, but I imagine not as big as an actual vehicle though. But the next best thing.
I imagine, yeah.
Now speaking of that though, there is kind of a fun kind of draw. So all the tables are Flintstones cars of different styles and varieties, by the way. But you have the iconic car that you can take a picture in. When you get in there, you can push a button, and basically has like giant fake ribs on it to look exactly like kind of like this mock-up here, only be like an actual real car. Where basically you get in there, you push the button, and it would tip over. So if you want to take a picture with you in the tipped over car, you could have it, or like mid-fall or whatever. So be like, I don't know. So in terms of the foods, again, the big draw would be the ribs. Then you'd have very much like 50s diner food. You'd have milkshakes. You got the Brontosaurus burger. You got fries. You got maybe maybe the Turkeysaurus Club.
Mm-hmm.
Also, breakfast option: fruity or cocoa pebbles.
I think fruity and cocoa pebbles should just be a dessert option, just in general.
I wonder, have they? Do you know if they've ever done like an ice cream sort of like cereal mix of something with the?
Oh, I'm sure there's been like fruity pebble milkshakes and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe you get
there's gotta be.
At the very least, I mean, let's crash through the ceiling on this, man. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Anyway, so again, as I mentioned, you got your indoor, you got your outdoor, you got your rolling, the skates and the waitress. Okay, so point being, so again, that's kind of your dine-in option. Again, very much in the drive-in spirit that the Flintstones showed us. So then, speaking of cars, and again, you see there's kind of like a building theme here. So we've introduced a lot of Flintstones cars that are going to be on people's minds. So you know what we should do next? We should go for a ride. Tiki, why don't you tell us about Bill and Joe's used cars?
All right, so Dragon, this I am going to be taking inspiration from the high in the sky Seuss trolley tram ride. I think that's how you say it. The people movers that exist in Seuss Landing at Islands of Adventure. So here's the gimmick, Dragon. Bill and Joe, they have created the world's first highway. And the gag is that it's literally just a road that is constructed up high.
Okay.
You like that?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's just like an excuse to get the cars elevated so they're not just like, like not just in the middle of the land.
Right, but there is like kind of like at least for the concept, right? There is like a road of some sort.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There's like like a very crude looking kind of like like freeway overpass kind of look.
Gotcha.
Like basically if Bedrock had a freeway overpass kind of deal.
Right. Now, the only thing I added to this thing is with the title is obviously Bill and Joe, Bill, Hannah, Joe, Barbera. It's like it starts off in like a used car lot and you're going for a test drive. I mean, that's if you want to
that's the whole idea. Yeah, you're going for a test drive and then you're also testing out their highway.
Yes, absolutely.
And the highway, again, not necessarily great for mass transit. It's just literally a way to look at Bedrock City from high off the ground.
No, that's
total Hanna-Barbera word pun.
Yeah, that's good. The only thing I imagined, and it's not the only thing I imagined is like would be like kind of like Fred going home in like in the original opening. He'd just be driving down the road. That's a little better though. The highways
and also there's got to be a moment where we use a Brontosaurus neck as a bridge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
That's got to be like a big kind of like photo op moment.
Yeah.
All right. That's about all I got for that. It's basically just a people mover kind of like giving a scenic overview of the land.
All right. So again, the idea is, so you went to the diner, you got fed, you've gone on kind of a ride that's basically building you up for the main attraction. So again, you enter through the beginning of the Flintstones, and now we're looking forward in our modern Stone Age family. And of course, one of the most historic things the Flintstones have done, and essentially the thing that the Flintstones paved the way for, was the Jetsons, in which the Flintstones meet the Jetsons. So this was obviously a huge thing, and Tiki and I, we spoke of the crossover, and unfortunately, the crossover does not nearly hold as much water as it used to, outside of the novelty factor. Look at them meet each other and how wonderful they are with each other. The plot was crap. The plot had nothing. There was no real good occasion for them to interact. We just had a lot of filler, a lot of padding. So we figured let's do it right in the form of an attraction. So what would make sense for the Flintstones meeting the Jetsons? What could you do with that? So Tiki, what do we do with that?
All right. Well, so basically, I did this as an homage to the Carousel of Progress, but also just of kind of like cheesy World's Fair type stuff in general, just because that is definitely the era of the Jetsons. And my whole idea, the thing I was struggling with was how to have the Jetsons interact with the Flintstones. And then I got this idea of, what if every family member of the Jetsons was showing off some kind of like, much like the Carousel of Progress is all about showing off, like the, modern conveniences of each time period. So here, every character would be matched with a Jetsons character, and they'd be showing off, the future of what such and such theme of each room would be like. Now, the setup for this is it's going to be happening in the Cave of the Future, which is a prehistoric World's Fair pavilion, Dragon. Essentially, this is like a, like a bedrockified World's Fair that's going on. And the Cave of the Future, much like the House of the Future, is cross-shaped. This is hexagon-shaped. So you go through a queue, and Dragon, you're a gadget nut. So why don't you tell us about, I just have listed, you go through a history of Flintstones props, including cartoon recreations and authentic movie memorabilia. Dragon, what kind of gadgets would you like to see in this queue? I'll throw it to you on that.
Well, first
it's
off,
like an evolution of Flintstones gadgets.
Well, sure, but first off, I want to talk about the Omni Mover though. The ride. Are we there yet, or we're slowly going?
Well, let's go through the queue. We'll build to that.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, just off the top of my head, I'd like to say you have like a scaled down version of that model from the Flintstones movie that Fred broke. The whole the origin of concrete. So we'd have stuff like the origin of concrete. We'd have the tar pits. We'd have in terms of gadgetry, we'd have like basically the gag would be we would have stuff that's very very low tech, initially like the club,
right,
and then
exactly,
you build up
exactly.
to the. We've already kind of seen the TV remote. You'd have you'd have things like the coffee maker and the cactus juicer. So again, you see things that are familiar to our world, only again just very very prehistoric. And of course, we transition to the Jetsons showing us like where we're going hundreds of years from now.
And there's no real excuse for the Jetsons to be here and for all this future stuff to be here. It's time travel, Dragon. Elroy's using his time machine to make all this happen.
I mean, what do you think of it though? It's the whole like Carousel of Progress thing being like, wouldn't it be a great just this kind of homage? Like,
I think it's a great juxtaposition, Dragon. I think it really worked. It was a very natural fit.
That's the thing. The Jetsons, unfortunately, they've always gotten the raw end because there's sadly not a lot to them outside of the initial gimmick. So the best way to do that is like, okay, we'll pair them up with the Flintstones, because that's literally how that goes, and that's when the Jetsons are at their strongest. So let's use them as the endpoint for the Flintstones in both the literal sense for our land as well as like what you could do for a ride. Of course, Carousel Progress. Yeah, it felt like a natural fit. All right, so. Anyway, yes. Anything else with the queue outside? So right now we have like the visual thing. You walk in there, you kind of have something that kind of ooh and ah. Like this is really good.
Yeah. So let's have the discussion about the Omni Movers, because I basically have two ways that I could see approaching it. All right.
Okay.
So option A, which I think would be the more feasible option, would be to just have all the Omni Movers just be generic kind of clamshell Omni Movers, and just have the just have it be kind of like a a transportation of the future type of deal. Not as visually compelling, but I also think probably a little easier to maintain, a little easier to map out. The more gimmicky option, the more ambitious option, would be kind of what you were suggesting with choosing between Flintstones and Jetsons vehicles. Now, Dragon, I want to point out there is definitely a precedent for this kind of thing using the Omni Mover technology, or at the very least, People Mover technology. Because did you know that the first incarnation of the People Mover technology was the Ford Magic Skyway, which used actual Ford cars?
I did not know that.
Yes. That was the first use of, the whole idea of like using the tires built into the track and everything. So, I mean, feasibly, like literally right from the very beginning of the People Movers, this has been able to work. I think the problem here, especially if you want to have the two different types of vehicles, is the tracks. And so I came up with an idea, Dragon, and tell me if you like it. Because essentially the way I designed the ride, there isn't really any sort of big crescendo or finale or anything. Like you could pretty much have the scenes be in any order, really. So what if one track was going clockwise through the scenes and then the other track was going counterclockwise and they were going through different sides of the rooms?
So you're saying, okay, so you're saying possibly you would have, like, let's just say you chose your vehicle, that your vehicle might go about the attraction in an opposite direction. So
right.
You pick the Flintstones car, so you're going to start, let's just say it starts linearly with the Flintstones car. And if you had the Jetsons car, which of course you'd be the green little rocket ship, little green spaceship, it starts in, like, you start with the food of, basically like the end point, and then you go all the way back to kind of where we started with, and basically each
exactly. But keep in mind the way that I designed these scenes, there's really no end point or beginning point. It's really just kind of a series of vignettes,
No, that's what I'm saying. Just you'd have a vignette that does not particularly end things. I mean, honestly, that's an ambitious idea. I'm kind of down for it.
I'm down for it too, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially because, like I said, it is kind of a callback to the Ford Magic Skyway, which is kind of like a forgotten piece of Disney history in a way. So,
sure.
All right. So yeah, let's quickly go. Honestly, Dragon, these rooms kind of wrote themselves. So I really love the idea of Mr. Spacely giving the future of safety spiel.
Now let me ask, and this is the thing I really wanted to ask you about. Okay, so with Mr. Spacely, so you know how I feel about Mr. Spacely. I much prefer Mr. Slate. So I wonder,
you want to have Spacely and Slate?
Here's what I'd love it if it were like a collaboration between the two, as in it was like presented by Slate Gravel, and
let's do it. You
had like a co-op, and you'd have like Mr. Slate would genuinely kind of welcome the folks, and then Spacely would give kind of like the more gruffer safety spiel.
Okay, here's the difference. Slate would be genuinely concerned for the guest safety, but doing it in kind of like a loving sort of way.
Right.
And then Spacely strictly business, strictly lawyer business. Like he's basically like, you better not get us sued. You like that?
It's not bad. That's not bad. I was yeah, no, that might work. I think that'll work.
All right. So yeah, like I said, these are basically just pretty simple little vignettes. Fred and George, Fred Flintstone, George Jetson, we basically get like a highway in the sky sort of deal with the flying cars, kind of like a little vignette. I'm kind of picturing basically, Dragon, I'm kind of picturing like the helicopters from the Monsters Inc. ride.
Yeah.
I'm kind of picturing that mixed with some miniatures, mixed with maybe some projections, kind of like like a mixed multimedia kind of thing to show all the rocket ships flying around.
Let me ask you this: how would you feel about projecting them in with all these characters? Honestly, I mean, I imagine Slate and Spacely would be like just kind of like a speaker gag, be sort of like
exactly. Yeah,
like we don't see him, but we hear him.
Right. That was the idea. Yeah.
Majority of it, though, it sounds like, would you like to animate them and just like in 2D and just kind of have them just kind of projected on there as they're like on it? My instant go-to with this, I'm thinking of the cue for the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera, obviously, but I'm thinking something along the lines of like they're presenting this, and we see the practical thing in live action, like the Jetsons cars going up and down to demonstrate the Flintstones car like going across somehow in real thing. But I don't know, like perhaps like Fred's could be animated, and then like the thing would burst through a wall or something. I don't know.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's something along those lines, perhaps. So, but regardless, like,
would you have the characters animated just to give them a little bit more actual fluidity?
Yeah, so I'm saying, did you have that in mind with all of them, or am I just like throwing something?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to check that. But yeah, honestly, the one I'm most excited for is George and Fred, because it makes sense that you would want them. Their most iconic thing would be their vehicles that they drive in the openings. So you would absolutely have them be the go-tos on that.
All right, so then we have Pebbles, Bam Bam, and Elroy in the future of toys. And Dragon, I think this room could be really fun. I'm picturing just kind of like a Richie Rich style room where there's like literally a roller coaster in the middle of a bedroom and stuff like that.
Sure. Oh, by the way, I meant to mention this. What we should absolutely add to the queue of this ride. We
Yeah.
also have stuff like the camera. The camera takes the picture and like kind of it's like a woodpecker and it chisels the image.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying some extra stuff like the shaver that's like a bee and a
Oh yeah,
clamshell.
sure. Right.
Anyway, yes. So the kids, the kids in the future of toys. That sounds good.
You know, maybe like some VR gags, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe actually, come to think of it, maybe we could have a gag about like Elroy riding the roller coaster and he's wearing a VR headset. And he's like, it's like I'm really there.
That's the really cool thing you can take advantage of is that the Jetsons go revisiting them from where they once were. They could go full tilt like where we're at today and going even beyond that. That's
exactly.
That's
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Again, they predicted half the stuff that we have now.
Right. Yeah,
well.
totally.
So yeah, give them VR. Yeah.
Ooh, and also, Dragon, that reminds me, Rosie, I totally forgot to work her in. So where should we put Rosie?
All right, let's see. Well, I mean, we could have
probably
Rosie
in the future of housekeeping, right?
I mean, yeah, that would make sense. The future of
Yeah. Okay, so I really like the pair ups we did with the women. We have Wilma and Jane, which makes sense because they're the two housewives. I mean, Betty's a housewife too, but I like what I did with Betty. I like her selection. And this is the future of housekeeping. Now, Dragon, this is the biggest straight up Carousel of Progress homage where, like I'm thinking what we could do is we could get like some straight up, like almost word for word quotes. Like back in the day, it took me 3 days to wash and dry my clothes or something like that,
Yeah, of course.
And then Rosie's just being really sarcastic about it. Like 3 days, Mrs. F, try 3 minutes.
Basically, you'd have like kind of like Jane just saying, "Oh, I don't have that problem at all." And then Rosie just kind of says, "Like, yeah, of course, because I do all the work."
Exactly. Yeah. So this would be like, I think the first 2 rooms would be more spectacle, and this would be more like kind of funny.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, so Betty and Judy. What do you think of me pairing Betty up with Judy because she's the more fashionable one and kind of having the future of fashion scene? I kind of like that.
I mean, yes. I mean, I'll admit though, Betty, we just kind of like. I think Betty technically belongs in housekeeping, but we do kind of need to pair up with Judy, and we're kind of going for like that initial like wait a minute, are they us from the past sort of gag from the
right.
Jetsons? So I get the pairing. And I mean, the thing that stops me is I know like Betty and Wilma do go clothes shopping a lot, so I can buy her in fashion enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
So by that logic, I can buy it. So I mean, yeah, it's a good pairing, sure.
And maybe we could even have Betty and Judy doing the whole da-da-da-da-da-da, charge it.
I'm gonna get all pathos on you here, okay?
Oh God.
Betty never had a daughter.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit of bonding with like the daughter she never had.
Totally. All right.
Okay. little tear running down the rider's face on.
Oh my God. Okay, so basically, Dragon, what we're seeing here is through the power of mirrors, we're seeing like essentially never-ending closets full of all kinds of different wacky fashions and stuff. Like basically fashions that would put Lando Calrissian to shame. Like, basically, Lando's just over there like, man, I only have capes as a gimmick. All these gimmicks are really cool.
So, what gag we should have here?
What?
we should have a gag where we do, like, kind of the, we mentioned, like, the fur versus the anti-fur thing, where it's like,
totally,
Betty's only option is fur, and then we have, like, Juice, like, really, fur? It's like, well, what else are we going to use? Oh, right.
That's a good idea. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then also I have an idea of Judy kind of being in the center of the room and via the power of projection mapping, she's in a mirror and her costume, her outfits are just kind of like changing on a whim because different colors are being projected onto the dress.
Oh, wait a minute. You want to use the outfit thing from the Flintstones Meet the Jetsons where you go in there and you walk out like the different outfit and stuff?
That's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right. And then you can kind of help me out with this one, Dreg, because this is the one I don't really have a lot of ideas for. And I don't even really, I think out of all the character pairings, I don't really think this one vibes all that well.
Yeah.
Astro and Barney.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
And the only reason I have Astro with Barney is because we already established that Dino is at the house.
Yeah, well, Tiki, I know I kind of lay it out like that, but Dino's always sneaking out of the house at the end of the day. So if you really want to have him there, you can. But it could be. I think the gag.
But then what do we do with Barney?
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
What I suggest is you have basically Barney being interrupted by all the pets, as in Barney's grabbing some food from the kitchen of the future. And he's having a good time. Look at everything. He says whatever he wants. A Bronto burger, and so it appears up, and he's about to chow down, or like a steak. If you want to homage the '94 film, like a steak. And then of course, Dino and Dino goes for it, and then he gets into a fight with Astro for it, for the steak, and it's like my steak. It's like,
oh God, yeah, I could see that.
It's basically like a three-way fight over food, and
of course, showing some of like the modern conveniences of food and everything like that.
Perhaps there's a gag at the end. I'll just have some Fruity Pebbles.
Oh hell yeah! Oh, definitely. And then maybe even we could have Fred come in like, Barney, those are my pebbles.
What did you say, Rubble? Nothing, Fred. You see, he quickly runs off, and Fred gives chase.
Oh God!
All right.
I love all these Pebbles references that we're throwing in, Dragon.
We'll throw the Pebble. We might as well do something with it, It's been there. It's been.
I feel like they could have the potential to be like the butter beer of this land, where they're just like omnipresent in the, in the food sphere.
I'm saying we give away little boxes of the cereal free to the kids. I think we.
Oh,
should
totally.
Do
Oh
that.
God, absolutely.
Here, have some Pebbles. You too. Not you, but you. I didn't like that one kid. He doesn't get any Pebbles.
Oh my God.
All right, so
no, I'd say like we could do like Fruity Pebbles, like popsicles and crazy shit like that. I don't know.
Well, let's not get insane, but yes, we should get Amazon, but we should definitely do like an ice cream variation of some.
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
Absolutely. Like they haven't at the very least we should do like a cocoa, kind of like fudge pop or something, whatever. It's like something. Yeah. Oh, for the winter.
Oh no.
Hot cocoa.
Oh hell yes! Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
Oh, that shit writes itself. All right.
Yeah.
Of course, I've seen these before in stores, and they're very good. But maybe we could have homemade versions. Fruity and cocoa pebble treats.
Yes. You mean like the Rice Krispie treats sort of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
We're going full cereal here, folks. Jerry Seinfeld, he wouldn't be. He would just run to the cereal if he stepped a toe in this park. He would.
No, but honestly, like I feel like that is an important element of theme park lands now. Is the dining? It's like, you and I think it's fair to say like we are both more looking forward to fucking Pim's test kitchen than we are the damn Spiderman ride at Adventures Campus. I mean, it's like, if you have a really good food idea, like I do think that exploiting the Pebbles would be, I think it would definitely be a big draw in its own right.
Oh, there was one other food item I neglected to mention at the diner.
Okay.
Dino dogs or dino dogs, whatever you like. I imagine Dino for the. What do you like better? You like dino or dino dogs for the pun? I don't want people to think we're going like how horrific that is if we say dino dogs. That's
what about Dino's dogs?
I mean, I guess. What do you think? Would you, if you were there, it's like, give me the Dino. Let me get some of Dino's dogs.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe we should just do Dino dogs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you like, Dino or
I like Dino dogs in theory, but I do worry about the implication.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want the whole like we're serving hot dogs. Like,
right.
I don't want that sort of thing.
Have the hot dogs be food colored purple.
Oh God. That's just nightmare fuel. But no, seriously, like Dino dogs though for the
pretty
hot dogs.
patties.
Okay, if we ever pitched like the Bikini Bottom, we'd have to.
Oh, pretty patties would be all the fuck over the place, and they'd be macaroons, Dragon. That's exactly what they would be. End of story.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, but so regardless of adding hot dogs to the menu with Dino dogs, yeah. All right. So, So anyway, so we exit the attraction, and there's a gift shop because there's always a gift shop.
I had one last detail here.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Go on. Yes.
We have a final scene where it's both families, but they're in two different, not just two time zones, folks, two different time periods, and they're, for lack of a better term, they're Skyping with each other.
At least the Jetsons created Skype, so it's fine.
Yeah. Well, they legitimately did. I mean, seriously, between them and Star Trek.
That's what I'm saying. We've given it a modern name, but essentially it's,
Yeah, and so I don't know, I like that idea of, like with Skype, it's like, oh, connect with anyone around the world, but with this, it's like, connect with anyone, ever! And I don't know, maybe we should have some fun, okay, here's an idea that I'm kind of pulling out of my ass, but what if it's like a Christmas scene, just to homage the Carousel of Progress in that final scene? And what if the Jetsons sent the Flintstones a gift for Christmas, and it's a VR headset, and Fred is playing the VR, and unlike Grandma in the Carousel of Progress, he is very bad at it. Because Grandma in the Carousel of Progress is a gamer dragon, if you remember.
Right.
Anyways.
Well, I'm just trying to think of how VR would go wrong for Fred. That's the thing. How would he...
You would just suck.
Well, yeah, it's a little vague, Tiki, but sure. I mean, I like the idea of Fred just kind of trying something. It's not going well. I'd like to think. He I can't just we can't just lock him out of the house again because we always do that. It's it's I don't know. I like to think he somehow falls from something. But we can't. I don't know.
It's like Power Glove Dragon. He's just not doing it right.
Perhaps he puts it on, he freaks out because he just doesn't get in Wilmsley rolling eyes. Oh, Fred!
Oh my God!
It's like basically we do the ET holiday game.
Wilma, where'd the house go?
Wilma, I'm falling. No,
oh
Fred,
my God!
You're not falling.
Yes, I think that's the way, Dragon. I think that's the way. Is that he takes the VR way too seriously?
Exactly. There you go.
Oh my God.
And George's like, Fred, you're not falling. I can't hear you. I'm falling. Barney. And then Barney also has a pair on. Says, Fred, I can't see anything.
Oh my God. All right. That's the finale.
There you go.
/ opening scene if you want to go with the 2-track layout.
All right.
Actually, you know what? Do you want to have both tracks meet in that room to be the finale?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that is.
I think that might be the better idea.
I didn't know how you stage it in terms of basically the drop-off area at the end of both parts would have that as the final room or not. I'm not sure.
Okay, I would say here's how I would stage it, where within each room up until this point, all of the action is taking place in the middle of the rooms with the tracks being on the sides, right?
Right.
So in the finale, what would happen is the tracks would come together, not merge, but kind of be side by side in the middle of the room, and on each side of the room would be one of the families.
Yeah, and also you would have kind of all cyclical here. You'd have a Flintstones car and a Jetsons car.
There you go. That's the last thing you see.
Much like what's going on screen there, where you get to see hey, you're kind of much like the families interacting. You were interacting with your fellow rider to an extent.
Totally.
Yeah, you're occupying the same space.
I like that. All right.
Yeah. All right. So then again, so we get off the ride, and probably something like Mr. Space says, "Thanks for your money." It's a little too Mr. Krabs, but Mr. Slate's trying to do the congenial. Thank you for coming on the ride, and then Space is like, yeah, so line up again. All right, so then again, you exit through the gift shop. The gift shop, you got some Flintstones and Jetsons merch. You got Funkos. You got Flintstone vitamins. You got shirts.
Oh my God, Flintstones vitamins. Oh man.
You have banks.
I'm a Flintstones kid, Dragon.
Absolutely, we all are. You have banks. You have banks, awesome vinyl banks in the shape of both the Flintstones car and the Jetsons.
Oh, I like
car.
that. I like that.
You can buy a remote control version of the ride vehicle. Vehicles, I should say. You got shirts, you got the DVD Blu-ray sets that comprise the entire series. Yeah. Maybe some
Cool.
keychains. Also straws. Like the old curly Q straws. Okay. So, well, the Spiderman Ride has them and they're awesome and I love them. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
okay, anyway. So, a little character hanging on the side of them.
Yeah.
All right, so also when you leave the land, you hear the end of the Flintstones theme. And have a gay old
I
time.
really like that detail.
Then you hear Fred yell, Wilma!
There's got to be just like a speaker just on loop at the end, just like, Wilma! Wilma!
Wilma!
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
that's it, yeah.
All right, Dragon. Well, I got to admit, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get any comment traction here, but I think we did a damn good job with this one, man.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see where this show takes us next. I definitely think we should be making it a weekly thing. Hopefully, it'll get more traction in the future. But yeah, I really quite like this. Any final thoughts?
I mean, look, I think we just kind of discovered we have a mutual huge love of the Flintstones in recent years.
Of course, Flintstones month, or the Flintstones Film Fest, we'd be remiss not to bring that up.
Yep, and of course it kind of shaked loose a lot of kind of love and appreciation for the Flintstones, and I think this is kind of ultimately what it was kind of building to, just like, kind of thinking of the theme park we had dreamed of seeing, once you learned that, oh my god, there's an actual Bedrock land, but it's only like a bunch of statues, and not even great statues.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed this. Did you notice that the statues that were in Bedrock City were from Flintstones on the Rocks?
Oh, yeah, I did kind of notice that, yes.
Yeah. I didn't see I can't remember. I guess the Fred one was also
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird for sure. But yeah, this was fun. It was fun. I mean, I gotta tell you, it was very easy just having gotten into the Flintstones. Like, yeah, it's like you have to do.
Once I got the Carousel of Progress thing, it was surprisingly easy on my end. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, I would have loved the simulator ride as well, because I adore the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera, which is also the leading thing of like, let's do a Flintstones land. It'd be awesome.
The thing with the simulator is I was just struggling for like a conflict or a big set piece, because as you kind of alluded to, there's not really a lot of meat to chew on with the Jetsons.
Unfortunately.
So that's why I thought that the Carousel of Progress idea, that was like the best way to kind of utilize the best of both worlds. It's literally them kind of coming together for a technological showcase.
And it was for the best. I mean, if you can take one goal away from this park that I think we accomplished in spades, was we're going to put people in a Flintstones car in one way or another, whether it be they're dining, they're watching something, or they're on the ride.
Totally.
They're going to sit in that car, and they're going to like it.
All right. Okay, well, folks, the blue skies mean our work is done, but you better batten down the hatches, because there's another storm coming that'll be a bigger and better ride of tomorrow than ever before. Remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. Here on Ridestormin.